Good morning. This is your daily reading from Raven. This is the 13th, I think. It's a Friday, I know that much. And we're really still in the full moon, in the Gemini moon. It's been pretty intense and lovely and challenging and connecting of patterns and understanding, you know, kind of bringing our intuitive understanding into the conscious mind. I feel like yesterday there was sort of like a crux brought to us where we have the opportunity to kind of take new action. So what I'm feeling today is connection to source. That's just what I'm getting needs to be talked about today. Connection to source and what that looks like on this particular beautiful day, especially. So what we ended up with is the Seven of Air, the Magician, and the King of Air. We've got a major arcana and a couple of sword suits, air suits. Yeah, so this is connection to source today, and it's coming through an interesting channel. This is definitely a different kind of depiction. She's surrounded by birds and almost becoming one of them. And in the traditional, this is the guy sneaking away from camp, all tippy-toe, sneaky Pete style, with too many swords in his hands, like he's deceiving or kind of thinking he can do it on his own, being a lone wolf mentality. It's a card of some separation and the choice to make yourself separate. I think that can be a balance. I think we probably have not enough emphasis in our society on time alone. And it also obviously has a shadow side, and the shadow side would be to think that that is not a choice, maybe, that's what you have to do to get along. I am having a hard time with language this entire Gemini full moon. I have to say, I've never had such a hard time with these readings as with all of this mental energy flying around. There's like so many connections, I can't keep up with them, and they just get crossed. It's almost like this Gemini full moon is a Mercury retrograde, which I don't usually even feel. Anyway, I'm gonna keep plugging away, okay? So this Seven of Swords, this is coming up for us today in terms of connection to source. So we're just being asked to look at the ways in which we need to and don't need to be the lone wolf, and are perhaps practicing some self-deceit. So what this comes down to on like a deeper, broader level is that all disconnection from source is a form of self-deceit. You know, if you really, this comes up in a more critical way, day to day, moment to moment, but stepping back and just looking at the human condition, this card is just like a lesson in connection and disconnection to source, which is the theme of the reading. And then we have the Magician. This guy looks like Santa Claus, like disapproving Santa Claus. I generally, this is the Magician has all of the tools on the table, all the tools of the elements, and he's kind of, to me, always in a bit of a performative posture. He's got this like disco hands going on, in which he's channeling the aether and the spiritual into the physical world. So this is in the process of spiritual discovery, in the process of the Fool's Journey. The Magician is kind of when you become aware of the Matrix, to speak in 90s parlance, that you become aware of like the illusory nature of reality, and start to understand that you're participating in creating the reality around you. So this is being invited to us today in connection to source? Like, in what ways can we participate? We participate mostly through thought, and then from that through action, and then from that through creative interaction. Whether that doesn't have to be something creative, but just like something that we're actually putting together in the world, I suppose is what I'm trying to say. Oh, Gemini full moon. But so yeah, the Magician, yeah, this is another kind of real, like, look at your part in manifestation card. This is a look at your part in connection and disconnection card. And what that leaves us with and leads us to is this guy, the King of Air, the King of Swords. So this is the airy part of air. This is the mastery of the mind, right? This is a really cool card to get in terms of connection to source. Because what if, stay with me here, what if, and it's not just me, it's all kinds of spiritual traditions, kind of metaphorize and maybe even just postulate that reality is in being dreamed. It's Shiva's dream. Was it Shiva? I don't know. One of those gods' dream. It's all in, it's like one consciousness. And if the universe is consciousness, then being the master of consciousness in us is being in tune with the universe. So invitation to a little bit of a trippy perspective, invitation to taking that leap in integration, because the way to get to the mastery of consciousness and the mastery of air and mental ability is by going through all the other elemental steps. That's what the court cards teach us. You go through integrating earth, and then you go through integrating fire, and then water, and then you end up in consciousness, in air. The mastery of the element, the consciousness of air, the consciousness of water. That's what the kings are. So, yeah, especially, I think this is coming out for me now, kind of articulating this for the first time, because this is a reading about connection to source, and we do that through our consciousness, ultimately, because aren't we just kind of making this all up together in concert with each other? So, yeah, that's my reading, a bit mystical. It is the Gemini full moon. I hope you're enjoying it and doing a lot of self-care at this time. Maybe some journaling is really appropriate. And find a good friend today and like talk it out. And I think also to sit down and do a meditation that is not so much like an empty mind meditation, but one that allows the ideas to flow and flow through you, kind of like a channeling exercise of some kind. Eventually I'll have all that kind of stuff on my channel to guide you through it. But yeah, this is all being called for today, right on the other side of this full moon, which is a manifestation moon. And yeah, we're being released into this consciousness. It's pretty effing cool. So love you guys, love for everyone, and I will see you tomorrow. I invite you to like, and I invite you to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you can get some of this good magic every day. It's also the holidays, and I invite you to buy a gift certificate or a reading for yourself for the new year. Much love. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Goodbye.